having them spying on you as well. So there's that article for you. But separately, the Village Voice is reporting on what we reported on first, Paul Watson at PrisonPlanet.com and INFOWARS.com, in February of 2011, about 11 months ago. And then it was in we've shown you all these articles here in the past. It was in the El Paso Times, then Chicago Tribune, and then about 6-7 months after that, we see the New York Times come out and basically begin to admit, okay, the DEA, the FBI, the ATF, the Border Patrol, they're laundering not hundreds of millions, but billions of dollars, and they're running the drugs, and they're shipping guns into Mexico to blame it on the Second Amendment, as CBS News admitted. But they say this is to understand the drug trade. Folks, $500 billion a year, that's when it's shipped in. It's about 3 or 4 times that in actual profit. $500 billion a year of drugs is brought in, heroin, cocaine, and other things in this country. Of course, the big mega banks are involved, and they've all been caught being involved. Here's part of the Village Voice article. DEA agents got involved in the illegal scheme back in 2007 to infiltrate and take part in drug organizations in Mexico. The agents also helped the kingpin move a big shipment of cocaine through Dallas to Madrid. DEA agents posed as pilots offering to ship cocaine. And, of course, there's a New York Times whitewash on it. In fact, click on the New York Times link right there, because when we can, I'd rather just pull up there. There it is. There it is. And, of course, it's only coming out now because when they bust some of these cartel heads, when local police do, they end up going to trial, they declare national security, and the feds rush in and say, it's all true, release them, please. So that's what's, in fact, here is that New York Times. Yeah, there's the El Paso Times. You know, I told you a few months after us, the El Paso Times reported on it. But if you look it up, Paul Watson actually covered it in February before that. I mean, a lot of cocaine, a lot of drugs. And the government's not done with that. I mean, they're going to be criminals. Why not run little kidnapped kids? They use DynCorp for that, who runs CPS in most towns and cities. But people, when faced with something this evil at this magnitude, just can't believe it. Remember, I told you years ago about Fast and Furious, before it was even in the news, because of our DEA sources, Selica Still and others. And, I mean, people have been killed and put in prison over this info. I mean, the system just can't believe my bravado, but it's not bravado. They have to be confronted. I'm just committed. It's not confidence, it's commitment. It's not arrogance, it's dedication. I only wish I had more to give to humanity. I only wish I wasn't so weak. I only wish I was a better man and had a greater mind to present this, because I don't have the information, the faculties to even be able to present to you how bad this really is. Now, here's another one. Homeland Security monitors journalists. Specifically, the DHS announced that the NCO of its Offices and Operations Coordination and Planning can collect personal information from news anchors, journalists, reporters, anyone else who may use traditional and or social media in real time to keep their audience situated and aware and informed. And they've also have a big multi-million-dollar contract to record all talk radio and analyze it. So the criminals that have hijacked our nation and wrapped themselves in the flag are attempting to keep tabs on folks. And we're glad you're keeping tabs, because all that's happening is your agents who aren't evil are becoming uncompartmentalized and waking up to the big picture. I can't tell you how many military officers, how many feds, FBI, DEA, Border Patrol, different Justice Department, federal marshals send us information that turns out to be accurate over and over again, and who said it never made sense till I heard your show. And then I went and looked it up. It never made sense. Now it all clicks. That's right. Reality does click. That's a good term. Reality clicks. Certainly does. Here's another one. I mean, there's got to be 100 of these in the last 3-4 years. Another dim bulb terror patsy nabbed by FBI, and even corporate prostitute media has had to basically admit that the latest stooge, a naturalized Yugoslavian who made a video, no doubt at the urging of undercover employees, as they admit, described his desire to take out infidels. The video will undoubtedly make it easy for the government to convict the dim-witted would-be al-Qaeda-ite, when our government in the 90s really did give southern Serbia, Kosovo, over to the real al-Qaeda to run heroin through. They had to have that route into Europe unfettered. And it's over and over again The media even has to admit that they just set up basically idiots who don't even have the means to do it to basically carry out these different types of terror attacks. Now, shifting gears to some of the biggest and most important news of the night. Engineered doomsday is what one publication headline said. And you heard in the last month, oh my God, the Fed stopped a major U.S. university from publishing how they created a weaponized bird flu that would kill more than 90% of the humans it came in contact with. And the New York Times also ran with a story with a similar headline going over all of that. And what they finally admitted was that it was actually the government that funded this to happen. Let's read this quote. The most frightening research was done by scientists at the medical center in Rotterdam who sought to discover how likely it is that a bird flu virus designated H5N1 might mutate to a form that seldom infects or spreads among humans into a form highly transmittable by coughing or sneezing. That's airborne. Thus far, the virus has infected close to 600 humans and killed more than half of them. Some numbers are as high as 90 plus. A fatality rate that far exceeds the 2% rate of the 1918 influenza pandemic that killed 100 million people. A 2% rate, much lower, 100 million dead. And of course, that was actually a bioweapon program. We covered that earlier today. So we're going to have a big special report on the doomsday flu that they may release as part of their eugenics program coming up. This is government funded. Never forget that. Now, we're going to have a couple videos here as we go to break. One of them, and I meant to get to this last week when he died, but on January 4th, but we ended up making the tribute and then running out of time to air it, so I wanted to properly talk about him. Just a great fighter for basic liberty and freedom, a gentleman that we'd only interviewed once, but I was aware of more than a decade ago, friends with Willie Nelson, mutual friends. Gatewood Galbraith was an American lawyer and author from the U.S. state of Kentucky. He was a 5-time candidate for governor of Kentucky, an author, outspoken proponent of marijuana legalization and privacy rights and other civil liberties. In his writing and speeches, Galbraith went into detail on what he termed synthetic subversion. The theories seek to explain how and why America, specifically Kentucky, moved from agricultural agrarian society into an industrial synthetic society. It's all about control. Galbraith claimed that the beginning of the shift can be traced back to the New Deal spearheaded by Franklin Roosevelt's administration. Up until the 30s, America and Kentucky relied solely on agriculture to fuel the economy. Galbraith argued that out of necessity, Roosevelt shifted America towards a more industrial, synthetic society fueled by alliances with greedy corporations. Gatewood died in his sleep due to complications from emphysema. So we're going to play a little clip from him on the radio show last year, and you can see the whole thing at PrisonPlanet.tv or on our YouTube channel for free. And then we have a very touching video of a group I know is doing a lot of good work with meager funds. And a lot of people like to demonize the Muslims or anybody with brown skin and say they deserve to die. There's a lot of videos of troops shooting kids and laughing and killing dogs and laughing. And people say the dogs are Al-Qaeda, the kids are Al-Qaeda, they all deserve it. But these are just some of the little kids that you need to look at, understand what war is really all about. Those of you that haven't been involved in it and think it's so sexy and powerful, this is the No More Victims group, and we'll have their website, nomorevictims.org, if you want to check that out and try to donate to help these children. I'm all for wounded warrior programs because the VA won't help the troops. They're too busy stealing all the money. But you also should help the kids. It's over 1 million dead Iraqis, but the walking dead, the walking wounded, the birth defects, the DU that our troops are now experiencing with their children, it's all part of the wages of sin, the wages of preemptive war. The wages of empire is enslavement and impoverishment for all of us. And for those of you that laugh at these little Iraqis, because I know you will, a lot of you think it's really sexy to kill little kids, don't worry, you'll all get it repaid to you in spades by your own sick life. I wouldn't want to be somebody like you, like a moth attracted to evil. I don't know who you are, but I know you're out there. I don't understand you, but I do understand you're a cockroach. So we'll go to that video as well and come back with our interview of somebody truly taking action. It's INFOWARS Nightly News. Stay with us.
I decided to go to college, become an attorney. And while I was going to do that, I was going to become governor of Kentucky and lift Kentucky out of poverty by changing the marijuana laws. So that was in 1971. I've gotten up every day for the last 40 years to do exactly that. I became an attorney. I have tried to change the marijuana laws, but other states have beat us to it. I was going to try to revitalize Kentucky's economy over it. It looks like we still may be able to, but I've run for office on various occasions. But what's happening is that we're being taken over by the people I call the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, military, industrial, transnational, corporate, fascist, elite SOBs, who've never said the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America or to the republic for which it stands, and they're not warm and fuzzy about you and me or our children or grandchildren, and they see the Constitution and the Bill of Rights as impediments to the implementation of a new world order and global economy.
Okay, so I'm writing in my child, my family, and I got injured in the war, so I had to come here for the surgery.
And so tell me, what happened? Why did you need surgery?
Because of my head, because I got shot.
And who shot you?
I'm one of the people.
The bullet entered right there, and out or here. When the bullet entered at her brain, explosion, the bullet explosion, and broken all the bone.
If you could talk to the soldier who shot you, what would you say to him right now? Just go ahead and pretend he's here and tell him.
I said, why you shoot me? That's not true. I do not do anything. I just had my jaw, held it in my hand. I say, why you shoot me? I'm a girl. I'm little, but why you shoot me? What? What?
Since 2003, No More Victims has brought children who were injured by American forces to the United States for medical treatment. The children were treated in communities all across the country, from Portland, Oregon to Portland, Maine, from Orlando, Florida to Orange, California. A blinded 3-year-old recovered her eyesight after treatment in Florida. Today, she is learning to read. After an American bomb disfigured 5-year-old Abdul Hakim's face, he was too ashamed to go to school. No More Victims brought him to Pittsburgh for facial reconstructive surgery, and now he's back in school, one of the top students in his class. 6-year-old Mustafa had been in excruciating pain for 4 years after an American missile destroyed his leg and left him with severe internal injuries. No More Victims brought Mustafa and his father to Portland, and after life-saving treatment, he is pain-free for the first time since the missile strike. Each community of care tells a story of a